What's going on, everyone? Eric here. Hope you're all doing good today. In this video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about water. We're going to be talking about a water filter that is going to hopefully make my water taste better because my water quality is a little bit iffy in my house. And we're going to talk about how it hopefully makes my coffee taste better. And we're going to be testing out this water filter, this Countertop 3-stage reverse osmosis water filter sent to me by Jimmy. Now, full disclosure, this is a sponsored post, but everything I'm saying, all my opinions, all the things that I taste, they're coming right from here. I also want to let you know that they have a discount code that they gave me that's going to go down in the link below. If you decided this is a product that works for you, feel free to use that discount code and add that on to whatever promotions they already have going on. So let's go over to my usual seat and let's start talking about this machine. I have been using this for about, I'd say, 3 weeks now. This has been what I've been doing for my daily water, everything I drink, and I've also been doing it for my daily coffee. So I have been replacing my tap water with this essentially, just to try to compare the two and see if I can notice a taste difference. Before I get into actually how the coffee tastes and do a taste test, I'm going to talk about this device a little bit. Now, this has been really convenient for me because the truth is that the water quality in my house is pretty bad. I haven't done any testing and gotten to any exacts. We have old pipes, so I have put an under-the-counter one-stage filter to try to get out any harmful metals or lead or anything that might be in there out of the water for my family. So that's what I've been mostly drinking with. Now, this here does a few things. It really strips down your water down to just the purest form. After filtering out any harmful metals and bad tasting components of your water, it also goes through another stage where it adds a little bit of good tasting minerals to your water. So what you're getting is actually water that isn't just tasteless and flat, but actually water that has a decent mouthfeel and a decent flavor to it. And I found that to be pretty pleasant. Yeah, water tastes good, water tastes clean. There's just no aftertaste like some my water has, and there's just it has this nice kind of silky mouthfeel to it that I like. That it means it's just adding just enough mineral content there to give your water a pleasant flavor and pleasant mouthfeel. It's good. And it's nice to know that it's safe, that I'm not exposing my family to lead or other dangerous metals or chemicals that might be in my water. So that's good. That's also important when we're talking about coffee, because coffee, though it is good to use very clean and pure water when you're making coffee, it actually tastes better with a little bit of mineral content. The thing that gets a lot of coffee makers, the actual machines, in trouble is calcium deposits, things like this. This water here won't have that problem. It should be more than safe for your coffee machine. It should definitely reduce any issue you have with calcifying, any buildup. You shouldn't have any lime buildup. You shouldn't have to descale your machine really. You might want to do that anyway, just to keep the insides clean because of other factors that might happen to the tubing of the inside of your machines. But this water is pretty pure and adds just enough mineral content so that your coffee still has a good flavor. A couple cool things about this machine. Now, one is that the water, it pulls the water from here. This is where it's going to, this is your raw water tank, you might call it. And then it goes through a water filter process, and the water filters all just sit on the top here. They're very easy to pop in and out if you ever need to. And it gives a little indicator on the front of how much life your filters have in there. And the life is supposed to be pretty long on these filters. After it pulls the water from the tank and filters it through the 3 filters, it puts it into a little pitcher here. And this pitcher is made of Triton, BPA free. This is a very durable and safe product. And you can just take this out. You could put it in your fridge. You could drink directly from it. And they give you 2 of these with the machine so that you could have one in the fridge and one in here full and ready to go. Interesting thing, took me a little bit to figure out, is that though it does pull the water from here, so when you're using the dispenser and has a dispenser built in here, it's going to take the water out of this pitcher. So this is how it gets around the whole not having a sink thing, right? Has your raw water, has your clean water, and then it has a dispenser built in. And if you want to have a little bit of water to drink, you could pour it from here, or you could actually hit how many milliliters you want, which is very convenient. So say I want to just get a little quick sip, I'm going to hit 200 milliliters, and I'm going to do a little click, and it's going to dispense that for me. And funny enough, I've found that the actual measurements, the actual amount of liquid that's coming out of this is pretty accurate. So you are getting about the amount of water that it advertises on the buttons there. So that's nice to have. So now it's going to be doing its thing and filtering a little bit more water to replace what it's drawn. But anyway, this right here, this is a removable drip tray that you can pop out. It will occasionally have little drips that come in here. It's good to pop that thing off and clean it out once a week. That'll keep your machine fresh. Another thing that this machine can do is it can dispense hot water, and this is what I've been using a lot. I've been using it for my daily coffee brewing, and my wife drinks warm water. That's what she prefers. So I can pick my temperature here. They give the temperatures in Fahrenheit, and usually in the morning when I'm getting ready to make a pour over, I'll click 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'll get a little pitcher here, and I'll do 300 milliliters, and then I'll put that in my kettle and just warm it up a little bit more to do my brew. And it's pretty simple. You just hit those two buttons, and then it's going to dispense some hot water like you'll be seeing now. So my first critique of the machine, one thing I've noticed is the temperature isn't exact to the degree. The more you use the hot water setting back to back, the water will be hotter. It never gets to boiling, but say you wanted 110 degrees Fahrenheit water, so you just wanted something that's kind of a warm water. If you dispense to 110 degrees back to back, I think that it's going to push up closer to 130, 140, 150 degrees, just because the whole inside gets a little hot. So back to back, one cup after another, it's going to get a little hotter than it advertises. Is that a deal breaker? That's up to you, but that's just something I noticed. Anyway, point is, this has made making my hot water for my pour over in the morning a lot speedier and a lot more convenient. So if you have little ones, there is a child lock, because you know how kids with their fingers, they can do all sorts of crazy stuff to touch screens. They can do things that we couldn't imagine. You do just have to press down the 60 milliliter button, keep your finger on there for I think 10 seconds, and that will child lock it, and then you do the same thing to unlock it. And that is a long time to be holding a button, but it really does ensure that you're having a safe experience, that no one's going to be accidentally unlocking it and having hot water dispensed on your little one's hands. A couple other cool features about this machine is it gives you a lot of indicators, some other information you might not necessarily know you wanted to know, but now you know it. It will tell you the temperature of your static water, or if you are dispensing, it should tell you the temperature of the water that is being dispensed. It will tell you the total dissolved solids, or TDS, of the water in the raw water tank, and it will also give you the TDS of the water that it's making, which is very low. All in all, it's very nice to see that it is getting a lot of dissolved solids out of the water and giving me a more pure water to enjoy. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to actually taste a couple coffees side by side. Now, I've done my best to do everything as consistently as possible, weigh out my water, weigh out my coffee, do same grind settings, try to get things on the same time settings, all these things to try to make things as close as possible as I can to each other. So I've done a brew with the filtered water from the Jimmy right here. I've also done a brew with my regular sink water with the under sink filter, one-stage filter. I've also made a batch of cold brew, a small batch of cold brew, one using this water, one using my sink water, side by side, and there's a lot less that can go wrong with cold brew. Everything, you know, same weight of coffee, same weight of water, same grind setting, same time, same way of filtering out the grinds. So that way I can taste two things and see if I can tell any difference between these two coffees with two different waters. So let's do that. So cold brew, usually not the most nuanced flavored cup of coffee, but that's okay. What I want to know is if it tastes any different to me, to my palate, when I have the coffee from my sink or the coffee that is low TDS on this Reverse Osmosis 3-stage filtered Jimmy machine right here. So this is the first cold brew. It's good. It's like pure chocolate. You know, this I purposely picked up kind of very flat, simple, traditional coffee. This tastes very much like cold brew. Really no complaints about this. I'm gonna have a little water, cleanse my palate. So let's try the filtered one. You know, I think I do taste a little bit of difference here, but I'm gonna go back and forth a couple times and be sure about this. So it's very subtle, all right? It's cold brew, it's very subtle, but I am noticing the flavor on this one is a little bit cleaner, a little bit less muddled, and I am getting a little bit more of the higher end, more floral, sweet, acidic notes that I look for in coffee that I enjoy from this one, where this one, the flavors are all a little bit more muddled together. The one that I made with the reverse osmosis water with a little bit of remineralization, yeah, it's very close, but I would say, like I said, it is a little cleaner, a little bit more pleasant, and I can definitely pick that up, even though my palate is pretty baseline. Let's just say that much. Anyway, so that was cool. That's a cool little thing to know. All right, so now we're gonna get into the hot coffees. I did, like I said, try my best to brew these as close as possible in the same parameters, and I have given them sufficient time to cool, and hopefully that will get rid of any like weird factors, like one being a little bit hotter, one being a little bit colder. So I'm gonna rinse my spoon and stir them both. All right, so let's taste this guy right here. Very simple, medium roast coffee. Like I said, I perfectly picked ones with not a lot of character, just that very chocolatey, nutty, very usual coffee flavor because I want to compare them side to side. Now this one here is made with the reverse osmosis water from the Jimmy. Not sure yet. I'm having similar kind of thoughts where they both are fine. Nothing wrong with either of these brews. This one definitely tastes a little bit more muddled, a little bit less clear. You know, just in case you're not a coffee nerd, when coffee nerds taste coffee, they're trying to pick apart the different flavors. They're looking for, can I taste chocolate? Can I taste almonds? Can I taste vague notes of like lemon in there or whatever? You know, you want to taste these flavors very clearly and precisely. And when things are very muddled, that could be a bad brew, that could be someone's technique, that could be a number of things. But the water is a factor that a lot of people forget about. Anyway, where I am right now is I'm thinking that the one that is using the sink water is has less clarity and is more muddled. This one has more clarity. Let's do a round two. Okay, so where I'm landing is, the difference is subtle, I'm not gonna lie, but there is definitely more clarity and a little bit more pronounced flavors in this cup of coffee. I've also brewed with this water light roast coffees that have much more, less typical coffee flavors in there. Things like, you know, you might pick up something like pine or mango and things like that. Like, you know, much more just a kind of out there tasting notes. And I have enjoyed my experience with that as well. What I tried to do in this test is try to see, even with the most typical coffee taste profile, the thing that a lot of people enjoy, that kind of rich, chocolatey, nutty, straightforward medium roast coffee, can I taste a difference because of the water? And the fact is that I can. I can tell that there is a slight difference between both of these coffees. So at the end of the day, you know, depending on your palate, depending on the kind of person you are, how deep into the weeds you get with the coffee tasting, or if you just want to enjoy a simple cup of coffee, it is cool to know that there is a slight difference in the flavors of these based on the water. It does definitely give me a more, like I said, pronounced and clear cup of coffee where I can definitely pick apart the flavors more easily. I would say that for me, the real strengths of this little countertop machine is, one, there was no installation. I didn't have to do something complicated under my sink, get out some tools and actually do stuff with plumbing, which makes me very nervous, and do anything under my sink to get this to happen. I think that they are affordable. It's got a decent price for what it's doing. I can bring it up to 200 degrees pretty fast, and I can trust the quality of the water. That might be the biggest plus to me, the fact that it is giving me clean water, pure water, water that is not potentially polluted with whatever icky stuff is dwelling in my old house's pipes. So I really do enjoy that. At the end of the day, super easy to use, very convenient to have in your countertop. Negatives might be, do you have enough room to have a device like this in your kitchen? It is 13 inches across, and it goes up to, with the handle and it's just over 10 inches wide. So do you have room for that on your counter? I think that would be the big kind of negative takeaway, is that not everyone has room on their countertops for this much stuff. It is a big hefty device. It serves a very specific purpose. You don't have to do any plumbing, but you know, it is a little big. Another thing to know about it is you do have to empty the water tank when it is about 2/3 low, because it does use this as a way to pull raw water in there, and also it also does eject water from the filters back in there. So the last bit of water at the end here will be wastewater, and you have to dump that out, fill it up with water, and reinstall. So not a big deal, but those are some of the quirkier things about the machine. In the end, I like that I can trust the water quality. I like that it's super easy to change the filters out. I like that it does have a little bit of remineralization in there, so your water is not completely sterile and tastes like nothing, and therefore not really as flavorful of a cup of coffee for your enjoyment. Also, drinking straight water, it is nice to have a little bit of minerals in there, but the minerals are low enough that if you are using a coffee maker or an espresso machine, it is not going to affect it negatively. That's my takeaway. I hope you enjoyed this. My experience has been positive. I'm going to keep using it. If this is the right device for you, check it out. Link below, coupon code below. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. See you later. Bye-bye.